It's been a while since I've done a video for a Ram HD, but I have been driving to 2024 so I can really be ready to drive this 2025. Now in this video, here's what I'm going to tell you. They fixed the Cummins. They fixed the Cummins. I'm not going to drive the truck today. I just want to show you guys around the truck, show you under the hood, and you got to stay tuned. Me and Josh are going to be doing some breakdowns on the engine. We're going to put it on the lift, show you guys a few things. You don't want to miss it. And I borrowed this truck from Larry H. Miller, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram here in Sandy, Utah. It seems to be available. I asked a few people, and on the window sticker, it shows available. Which, let's go ahead and check out the pricing on this one. At the very top is the description. So this is a Laramie Sport long bed. Base price comes in at $64,935. And then here is a short listing of the standard equipment. Be sure to pause to see more. So this does have the 9-speaker Alpine standard. And the first thing on the option list is a 342 because of the diesel. Sport appearance was $24.95. And at the top here, you see fifth wheel prep package, Laramie level 2 plus for $48.95. A lot of nice features in there, and all weather floor mats. 6.7 Cummins is $12,595, and it comes standard with that 342. Power sunroof, also has the auxiliary switches for $225. And because this is a long bed, it does have the 50-gallon fuel tank with the dual alternators. Destination comes in at $19.95 with a total price of $89,935. Today, I have to admit, this front end is still growing on me. It looks a lot better when you have painted grille surround from that sport appearance. This one also has a sport performance hood, but I feel as though with this new headlight design, the front end is a little bit more busier compared to the outgoing. I think I just like the 2024 model a lot better personally, but hey, the headlights are something to really marvel at because you have this quad beam LED. The only other truck that I know that does this is the Toyota Tundra. They have quad beam LED headlights too, and their headlights are amazing. So with this truck here, I'm going to show you guys with the lights on, darkened. They are on right now, but the truck's not on. So the very top projectors, those are just for reflecting off of signs. That's it. They don't even act as like high beams. Now down below, you have in each projector 3 beams. That is going to be your low beam at the very top here, okay? The bottom projectors are for your high beam. So those are going to act as your high beams for the headlight. So the top lights are just for reflecting off the signs, and you have that LED turn signal, daytime running lights. Now, apart from the lighting, you still have the same reflective style LED fog lights. Those are amazing. So hopefully they did fix, you know, the lighting on these trucks. There was a little bit of a black spot on the side if you didn't have the fog lights on, in my opinion. So who knows, maybe they fixed that. On the front end, you guys can see they spell out Ram, and you might think there's a camera here, but unfortunately, no. It's just a block-off plate. This truck does have the radar cruise control, also front parking sensors, black recovery hooks. Now, I forgot to turn in the steering wheel, so let's go ahead and turn in so we can check out the suspension here. Nothing is really jumping out at me for the suspension. Now, that end link looks to be new, but solid front axle. This truck obviously has four-wheel drive. Now, you guys can see right there, that looks a little different. You can see the turbocharger, and I almost wonder if it's getting a little bit of cooling. Like, that looks like the compressor side right there. But they do give you a plastic material for the liner, which is nothing new. And here are the tires. These look a little different. These are Firestone tires, Transforce AT2s. I can't remember if the other ones were AT2s though. But the tread pattern looks a little different to me, but maybe it's just been a while since I've seen them. Now, these are a carryover wheel from 2024 and earlier, 8 lug, and they have a good design to them. I like these wheels. These are the same wheels that they black out too. Now, this is a Laramie, right? And they decided not to bring back fender flares for 2025. They did it for the half tons, but not for this truck. That was that was silly, but it is what it is. I'm not going to complain about it. Now here on the hood, you have that Sport Performance hood, so you have some heat extractors here. It says 3500 heavy duty. This badge is a carryover. It says Ram down below, and mirrors are going to be pretty much a carryover. They did restyle these for 2023, so they fit perfectly on this truck. And I love the power deployable running boards. I want to say this option was not available for the 2024 Laramies. I could be wrong, but I don't think that you could get those last year. Smart key system for the front doors. Back over to the mirrors, you have blind spot, you have top and bottom heat, lighting here. No chrome around the windows. And you have the long bed. The only way you can get that 50-gallon fuel tank is if you get a long bed truck for the 3500s. Now, I didn't mention this last time. They did make the DEF tank larger. I think it's 7.5 gallons, I believe. Don't hold me to it. I believe that is, you know what, let's just look under. I could probably tell if there's a difference in the size of it. Let's see. It's gonna be further up that way. And I can't tell. But yeah, there goes all your exhaust. Unfortunately, you can tell that there's still emission stuff, right? There is a skid plate for the DEF tank, but not for your fuel tank, huh? Interesting. By the way, there are puddle lights under the mirrors. There's your sport badge. And this truck does have 4 leafs in the main pack. You can see your shock absorber. You can see that a little bit more overbuilt framing compared to the 2500, and you have a liner out back. This one also has the step here. Full LED tail lights, and I like the accent light that you have when the lights are on. And then here's a rear. You have that big old Ram badge. They never did that for the previous model years. Class 5 hitch. You have a 4 and 7 pin. They still give you LED license plate lights standard. You also have a light right there if you're hooking up at night with a camera. And I apologize, this truck has been sitting, so it's super dirty. So let's go ahead and jump in. Fifth wheel prep package. Now, I haven't looked at a long bed truck in a while. This looks like it's a little bit further back in the bed, but it could just be me. Another 4 and 7 pin, and then 400 watts of power. Bed lights, all LED. You also have a camera here for bed view. And this truck does have a sunroof too. Power sliding rear glass. You have tie downs throughout the bed. But yeah, this all looks to be a carryover for the fifth wheel prep package. I wish they would have switched over to what GM and Ford use, because their gooseneck balls are interchangeable for the trucks. I think the pucks are a little different though. There is your spare tire. That rear end looks the exact same as last year. And you can see the brakes, hopefully, right there. Out back. And then here is a side view of the truck. Now, the moment you've been waiting for, under the hood. Do you guys remember that video I did like 2 years ago saying that the next Cummins will have a functional hood scoop from the Sport Performance hood? Well, I was wrong. They still don't use that hood scoop on this engine. I was really hoping to see that for this year too, but it is what it is. Now let's go ahead and step up here so you guys can see what's going on. You can tell that this looks totally different. That crankcase ventilation filter looks a lot easier to get to. Also, a lot easier to get to is that oil filter. The intake does look a little different, but I could be wrong. We're gonna pull these trucks side by side. That way you guys can see. Now, let me get on the other side real quickly. You guys can probably see those are your fuel filters. Now they're both under the hood. Josh is gonna do a separate video on how to get those off. So be sure to subscribe to Truck Stuff for sure, because he's gonna also give his honest opinion about that location. Now this one does have the dual alternators, so those look to be in the same spots. Yep, you see the other one right down there, right there. So what's new about this Cummins? There's a lot of changes. For example, they do have a redesigned block and head. They are using more heavy duty pistons for the internals. New performance intake manifold. And they are using larger intake and exhaust valves too, and that's going to help improve port flow for the engine. Top feed, dry service injectors, new variable geometry turbocharger, and everyone's favorite, glow plugs. Actually, it's my favorite. You know, my GMC has it, and my GMC heats up a lot quicker than this, or than my older Cummins with the grid heater. So no more grid heater in this engine. And the good news is this engine has 430 horsepower, which is up from 420, and 1,075 pound-feet of torque, which doesn't change. So it's the same power, but you know what? It don't matter, because guess what? We have an 8-speed transmission, so all the Ford and GM guys can suck it. Oh, actually, I'm a GM guy, so I can't say that. I'm telling myself to suck it, and I don't want to do that. So let's see if we can see that transmission. Oh, look at the cooling that they added to that. Oh, yes. That transmission is definitely probably about the same size as the Eisen, I think. I can't really see it though, but you guys can probably see more than me. But yes, that has an 8-speed transmission, which is why they went from a 373 to a 342. And yes, I don't know why I'm climbing in here, because you guys are gonna see this truck on the lift in another video. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. Let's check out the interior. Now let's be honest here. This interior is underwhelming for 2025. If Ram calls this a refresh, they didn't really refresh anything. All they did was add a bigger screen and dual chargers to the interior, and that's it. This is the exact same interior we had in 2019. Exact same thing. It's just a little bit different. Like you have the gauge cluster here, that's the screen. They had that since 2023, I believe, 23. It wasn't standard or available in 2023, but in 2024 it became an option for Laramie. But yes, despite that, they still run with the best of them. They have the best mirrors, because you can power that convex, and it's heated, as you heard earlier. But if I'm being honest, this truck is definitely underwhelming. Tim Kuniskis has a lot of work cut out for him. But despite my feelings on this truck, they still have one of the best interiors in the segment, guys. I mean, no one is hating on Ram trucks unless you're just a clear hater. They have the best interior design, bar none. I still think that my AT4X has the best when it comes down to the off-road segment, but the limited trim from Ram is still the best. They do illuminate this area, no one else does. And they took away the illumination for this, which was kind of funny. I think they did that a couple years ago. A little bit of storage on the side. If you've never owned a Ram truck before, this is the perfect time to get in one. I'm telling you, this is truly one of the best trucks in the segment. And if you haven't owned one, I think, as I said earlier, they fixed the Cummins, so it'd be a good chance to get in one of these, because I know they have rebates on them, even for the 2025s. Ooh, 60/40 bench. The only negative thing about it is, if you still have kids that are 15 years old plus, this cab is small. I think that I would opt for the mega cab if I had older kids, but if you don't have kids at home, this is good enough for sure. You have this platform here if you have a big dog, or if you need to sleep back here. You have those outboard heated seats, 115 volt power plug, 4 USBs, and I love that they give you these lights here, so when you put the seat down, it shines on the ground here. But yes, this cab is definitely smaller, and if you're in the market for a big cab, yeah, you're gonna have to go to the other two or three. Push button starts right there. This, Josh said this is electronically controlled now. The Eisen and the 68 had a mechanical one, so this feels totally different. Here's your backup camera here. Also, that looks a little grainy, by the way. I saw this earlier and I was shocked by that. But that looks great still. You can zoom in too if you want. Now I am on your dashboard under towing. You still have up to 4 trailers. I love that they give you these gauges here. I can't wait to drive these trucks in the future. I want to see how hot that transmission gets. I'll have a chance hopefully to tow with one. But yes, this is really nice. Love that they do that. Is this something that I think every truck should have? By the way, there is one more page here: oil pressure, battery voltage, and an exhaust brake. Oh yeah, we got to test out the exhaust brake in the future too. I'm gonna do a separate video for that. I might go get a Ford truck and do it side by side, because Ford's exhaust brake's a lot better, and now that this has more gears, this could be down on that. So exhaust brake, let's see what happens when I push that button. So you have full and automatic still, which is a good thing. Your tow haul mode, it just comes up on the screen right there. You can see on the side. Now let's see really quickly. This is the last thing I think I'm going to show in this video, because I'm going to do a ton of videos on these trucks, so no need to hit everything in one video. But here's your MPG. Here's some of your gauges and tire pressure, exhaust brake, boost pressure, diesel particulate filter, fuel filter life, drive and idle hours. I didn't see a dipstick inside of here. So this truck doesn't have a dipstick, guys, just as an FYI. They don't give those to the ZF transmissions. So I'm wondering if, I'm wondering if there's a way that you can check the level of this without a dipstick. So that might be something I asked Josh when we do that video. So you guys ready to see the payload? Let's see if they change the gross vehicle weight rating. So the gross axle weight rating out front is going to be 6,000 pounds. The rear is 7,000 pounds, which is lacking behind GM, which is first place, Ford's in second place, and yeah, they're still last place with that. But they're still using a 12,300 pound gross vehicle weight rating. Wheels are 20 by 8 wide. And then all in payload capacity is 3,743 pounds. So that's not too bad, because remember, this truck has a 50-gallon fuel tank, and when they give you the payload, that is filled, I believe. So this does have a cast iron block, I believe. Last year it had a compacted graphite iron, so that was lighter than this. So going back, I would have thought this would have been a little bit lower with that 50-gallon fuel tank. So the payload's pretty good. That's in line with everyone else, especially for the long bed truck. I think obviously a Ford would have probably close to like 4,100 pounds with similar options as this truck does. GM would probably be right around the same number there, because they have a 12,250 GVWR compared to Ford's 12,400 pound GVWR. But I hope you guys liked the video. As I said, if you haven't owned a Ram truck, this is the best time to try one out. They got an 8-speed, guys. They fixed the Cummins. I can't wait to do some drive videos. I only drove it over here, and I haven't even tested out the exhaust brake yet. I just want to take it slow. I have all year to do videos on these trucks, and I think that you guys know I've owned a truck like this in the past, and I do miss my Ram in some ways. Like, I really miss the exhaust brake. I think that they have really built the best towing pickup truck, but because I don't tow as much, the way this truck drives is important too. Now, this being a long bed, I'm not gonna give my impression on how this drives, because it's gonna drive a little bit better because of the longer wheelbase. But again, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Got some great videos coming for you guys, and I'm gonna be doing tests against the old Cummins, and yes, you don't want to miss it. Later.